Moving on to one of the biggest games of the college football season so far, the 7th-ranked Indiana Hoosiers head to Eugene, Oregon to take on the Oregon Ducks. They are ranked 3rd. It's 3:30 Eastern time on CBS. Top 10 showdown in Autzen Stadium, and what more do you want? Both teams arrive at 5-0. You got on one side who's got just that unapologetic confidence and just a simple offensive system. We do what we do. We're going to be more physical. We're going to win the line of scrimmage. We got great quarterback play and we got a great defense. I just love Curt Cignetti, but I also love Dan Lanning. One of my favorite coach matchups of the entire weekend. Dan Lanning at Oregon currently holds the highest winning percentage in program history at .870. That surpassed even the legendary Chip Kelly. And it's the best quarterback matchup of the weekend. If you love quarterback play, this is the game for you. We'll start with Indiana's Fernando Mendoza. Been spectacular so far this year. Over 1,200 yards, 16-1 touchdown to interception ratio. His passer rating's just south of 200 while completing 73% of his passes. He's also pretty athletic too. He can keep you honest with his legs. Not a guy that's going to kill you with his legs, but if you get too aggressive rushing the quarterback, Mendoza can make you pay. He's got an elite set of wide receivers on the outside to rely on as well. On the other side is Dante Moore. So calm, just such remarkable poise for a guy that is relatively young in his development. He plays like a seasoned veteran, and he serves as a kind of a point guard to this high-powered attack. He's been flawless for the most part for the Ducks from the beginning of the season. Just under 75% completion, over 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a passer rating of 183.5. A couple impactful injuries in this game. Indiana Hoosiers, D'Angelo Pond, their corner. It's sounding like he's going to be ready to go. It's sounding like he's going to play, but he's an All-American and a playmaker on the outside. So having him back and at least close to 100% would be significant. His absence, or if he's at less than 100%, could be a huge blow to the secondary that needs his presence there on the perimeter. And then for the Oregon Ducks, Kenyon Sadiq. Minor injury against Penn State. I don't think it'll be a big deal. I think he'll be fine, but he's a key part of this offense, a real matchup nightmare. And if for whatever reason he's at less than 100%, even if he goes, you still got to account for him. But if he's at less than 100%, that could be a little bit of an issue as well. So just be mindful. 2 All-American contenders that are a little bit banged up heading into this matchup. And hey, you need all hands on deck in a game like this. Question number 1. Can Indiana's rushing attack continue its performance against Oregon's front 7? This is probably the key battle of the game. And Indiana has a really neat offensive scheme. They have a deep and talented backfield. They got Roman Hemby, Kalen Black. Both guys have gone for nearly 350. Hemby has gone for 350. Kalen Black, 344. And a goal line specialist, short yardage specialist in Kobe Martin, who's got 222 and 4 touchdowns. And what's amazing is this offense, the offensive line, by the way, really good as well. They're averaging nearly 6 yards per carry. And this is an Oregon front that has a lot of really good playmakers. They really do. This is a very talented group up front for sure. I do think this might be a slight step up with what they've seen up to this point. That's no disrespect to Penn State. I think Penn State's a good football team. I think their offensive line's a good group for the most part. I think Indiana's better. So this will be a level of physicality that I don't know if Oregon has faced just yet. And Oregon's run defense is very, very solid. They're top 50 nationally, but they haven't faced a team that is this committed to trying to create an advantage on the ground. If you look at Indiana, they run the ball 62, 63% of the time. So this matchup will determine whether or not Indiana can kind of control the tempo of the game. I think if you look at Indiana, their goal going into it, probably try to run the ball 40 plus times. If you can run the ball 40 plus times, accumulate, 200 rushing yards in this game, you can dominate time of possession, and then you can keep that incredible Oregon offense on the sideline, which should be the number 1 priority for Curt Cignetti and this Hoosiers team. Question number 2. Can Oregon's passing game attack Indiana's secondary? Now, Dante Moore, ruthlessly efficient. I mean, just amazing how he stands back there and distributes the ball over the place. The offensive line so far has been outstanding when it comes to pass protection. He's got really dangerous weapons on the outside. Decorium Moore is as good as any freshman as there is in the country. You got a veteran in Gary Bryant who is so reliable. He's going to be always a huge factor in the plan as well. They're going against an Indiana secondary that is among the best in the country when it comes to creating turnovers. You got safeties that can get very involved with Farrell and Lewis Moore. You also have a unit that does a really good job of baiting quarterbacks into making mistakes. They do a great job disguising coverages, and they do have a tendency to confuse even the most experienced quarterbacks. But Dante Moore, like we talked about early, his poise is massive. He has not been fooled very often this year. He knows where to go with the football. He's very decisive. And when things do go a little haywire, it hasn't bothered him yet. So he's going to have to be great with his eyes because this is a good defensive scheme that can create some confusion. I referenced D'Angelo Pons. If he's at less than 100%, that could be a bit of a problem on the outside matching up against this outstanding wide receiver core. Question number 3, can Oregon's defensive pressure affect Fernando Mendoza? This might be one of the bigger storylines throughout the game is just how good Fernando Mendoza's been. And Dan Lanning, and Tosh Lupoi, their defensive brain trust, they do an incredible job on a week-to-week basis in creating deception, creating confusion, pressuring without really pressuring, and what we call simulated pressures, where they only rush 4 guys, but it's with a linebacker and you drop a defensive end. And if you have a quarterback that is pretty aggressive in his own right, he can occasionally make the wrong decision from pre-snap to post-snap. And Fernando Mendoza's primary issue is maybe at times he becomes a little bit impatient. Maybe he tries to do a little too much. And there are times, too, when he's left the pocket maybe a bit prematurely when the first read isn't there. So Dan Lanning will no doubt, he's going to have a game plan that will be designed to kind of create and exploit this tendency. He'll show blitz and then drop 8 in coverage. And then he'll look like he's in drop 8 coverage and bring a delayed pressure. And at that point, Mendoza is already committed to throwing the ball where he's going to throw the ball. Mendoza's a bit of a gunslinger, and I absolutely love that. And if he can demonstrate patience and kind of take the checkdowns and diagnose what's coming, then that would be big to kind of get Dan Lanning out of being over-aggressive at times in a game like this. And then Indiana can sustain some drives and things like that. But if Mendoza gets a little greedy, that could lead to a game-changing turnover that Oregon's defense is designed to create. Question number 4, can Indiana's havoc create problems for Oregon's offensive line? This is a really disruptive scheme. Bryant Haynes, their defensive coordinator, does an amazing job. And right now, they are top 4 in the country when it comes to defensive efficiency. They've been outstanding in the red zone. They've been great on third down. And they can get after you and affect the quarterback. But the defensive line, they're going to have their hands full because it's a really good offensive line. You got Mikhail Kamara, Kellen Wyatt coming off the edge, Tyreek Tucker, and Jose Wheeler on the inside. This Indiana defensive line has to be disruptive in this game for them to limit Oregon's offense. If their defensive line doesn't play out of their mind, it's going to be tough sledding for sure, especially knowing the talented running backs that Oregon has at their disposal, 2-3 deep at that position that can take over the game and break a big one if you are not sound defensively. I'm going to take Oregon in this game, but I think it's going to be close. I'll take the points. I think this has a chance to be a very high-scoring game. I like both offenses an awful lot. I like both quarterbacks an awful lot. I love the personnel at wide receiver for both teams. And I do think the defense, because of their aggressiveness, could be maybe susceptible to a couple big plays created. So I'll take Oregon. I'll take the points. And I think it'll be a high-scoring affair.